Good evening, everybody. Yes, this is an advertisement. The dates have been announced for next year's North Forge Gathering, May 22nd through the 24th, Camp Barnhart, New London, North Carolina. Join us. You will have tons of fun. And welcome in, everybody. Yes, that was an advertisement. We are Rogue Advice. We are supposed to be a D&D, TTRPG, and sports and podcast and nerdcast, if you will. But we have quite literally taken a few detours. And I'm okay with that. I want to welcome in everybody in the chat. Ron and Ruby, Yokai, Kirk, Milady Lee. And for those of you who are new to the podcast, we would like you to like, subscribe, hit that notification button, get those notifications. We're going to have a wonderful time tonight. I want to make a shout out to James and Crimson Honda. They're not going to be here tonight. I don't know if Puffy Cheeto is going to be here, but hello to Puffy Cheeto. We like to welcome in, or we like to say hello to all of our regulars. And Ron, Ruby, Yokai, Kirk, Milady Lee, you guys are regulars now too. Our email address is roguebardadvice@gmail.com. Kind of looks like roguebardadvice@gmail.com. And we take all questions, regardless what they are. We got archaeology questions you want to know about, send them my way. You got TTRPG and D&D questions, send them my way. You got sports questions. We have the sports ball. You can send sports questions my way. But roguebardadvice@gmail.com. And please, if you do send questions, please make sure you get your questions in by Wednesday of the week. That way it gives me time on Thursday and Fridays to set this thing up and get you answers to your questions. But we have an excellent show tonight, and I want to apologize to Kirk. Welcome in, Kirk. I didn't see it until after I stopped the show last week, but apparently I had another question queued up from Kirk that we didn't get to. So we will be getting that question tonight, though. What's the point of sailing your own ship if it's not to chase distractions? Well, this is true. I mean, pirates are all distracted by shiny stuff. Gold, silver, water, mead. So without further ado, we've got get questions in by Wednesday, and then you can paint minis on Thursday and Friday. Yes, Kirk. Yes. No, don't get questions in Friday an hour before the pod. I mean, you can, but I mean, I'm running out of questions, guys. So, with that being said, we have a total of 6 questions tonight, and a couple doubles. Couple questions from multiple people, or from the same people, multiple questions, but I've spaced them out like I usually do. So with that being said, our first question comes from Crimson Honda. He chose to play D&D with his family tonight and not be part of the podcast, which is fine. D&D always comes first. Bacon should be in here too, but at least that's what she said an hour and a half ago. But our first question comes from Crimson Honda, and Crimson Honda asks the Pirate Archaeologist, "Hi, Rogue and Chat. I was wondering, what are the best supplement books for 3.5 and 5e? I have a good imagination, but would like to use pre-planned books to run for my family. Thanks for y'all's help. Well, Crimson Honda, thank you for the question. And I did some research. Now, getting into playing with the family who hasn't ever played D&D and stuff like that, it is best to run a campaign, a module, if you will, because that's what I think you were asking about was modules, because supplements and modules are two totally different things. Supplements for 3.5 were things like the Fighters and Monks Handbook or Guidebook, the Rogues Guidebook, the Wizards and Sorcerers Guidebooks, which is Blood and Tome, the Expanded Arms and Equipment Guide, stuff like that. But I'm assuming you were talking about modules. So, with that being said, I did look up some modules, and I always like to. So the modules are designed, at least in 3.5. I don't know about 5e because I've never played 5e. But the modules for 3.5 were designed in character level. So they were designed for a party of 4 character levels, 0 to 3, 0 to 4, 4 to 14, 4 to 18. Good evening, Bacon. Welcome in. So, with that being said, I always like to start my campaigns off with an easy 3.5 module. It's super easy, super fun, super easy, and it's called the Sunless Citadel. And then you can either do the Sunless Citadel, the Fight Retristor. Those are both levels 0 or levels 1 to 3. The Shattered Gates of Slaughterguard is a 1 to 6. The Borrow of the Forgotten King is 2 to 4. The Shadows of the Last War is strictly for a party of level 2 characters. Good evening, Kevin. Welcome in. I've got the weird echo again, and I didn't even do anything. Maybe it's because I'm holding the mic and not just letting the mic sit. Slight echo wasn't present when I was holding the mic near my mouth. Okay. I just turned it down, so maybe there's a difference. But the Shadows of the Last War, like I said, straight up second, or second level characters. The Forge of Fury is designed for 3 and 5. There's a lot of them. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you want a long form campaign, I would start with like the Sunless Citadel as your opener, and then either go to the Return of the Temple of Elemental Evil, or go to the fantastic locations, the Frostfell Rift. Both of those go from, well, the Temple of Elemental Evil goes from level 4 to level 14, and the Frostfell Rift goes from level 4 to level 18. So those are long form campaigns. While they're pre-made modules, you can homebrew stuff with them. You can change them just a bit. And the best part about 3.5 modules is they work for 5e. The rules for 5e allow for outside modules, 3.5, 3rd edition, 2nd edition even. That's from what I hear, that's the best thing about 5e is it's adaptable. So yeah, there you go. And if you want, I can get you a website that has all of these downloaded PDF. I think we actually mentioned it but I don't think you were there. I think we actually mentioned it once or twice in Bard Advice, actually. So, but yeah, no. Go download the PDFs for this for free. You don't have to buy them. They have them available for download. and then you just print them out and be done with it. But I hope there was an answer for you in that question, Crimson Honda. I know you're not here tonight, but I do hope your D&D game is going well. So our next question comes from Kirk, and I do believe this is the question that I skipped over last week. Last week was so great. We went for nearly 2 hours. We went for an hour and 45 minutes. I started early because I had so much to do, so much to talk about. Kevin tries to avoid modules that have ghosts for low-level characters with newbie players. Ghost special abilities are too strong for low-level characters. I don't remember any of those modules had any. No, they didn't, as a matter of fact. I've actually played, not Return to the Temple of Elemental Evil, but I've played the Temple of Elemental Evil as a module for 3.5. But that was a fun module. Let me tell you, that was a fun module. My party, the party I was DMing with, it was just 3 of us. So it was really me as the DM and a PC and 2 other characters, 2 other PCs. But they ended up dying, so I and Ron and Ruby are going to get this. Kirk may get it. I Bob Newharted them. I told them it was all a bad dream, and then proceeded to do the exact same thing, where only one person actually had knowledge of, like, hey, I remember this shit from my dream. So, I didn't watch Dallas, Kirk. I did watch Newhart. So, remembering that the inn in Vermont was just a dream that Bob had while he was sleeping, that was forefront. So, but yeah, I didn't watch Dallas very much. I was too young for Dallas. Though Newhart, it was around the same time, but I caught Newhart in reruns. So, but yeah, if your party dies, and that's the great thing, if your party dies, you as the DM have the option to run it back, make it a dream sequence. That's fun to do dream sequences. They don't use any of their spell slots. You just say, okay, all of that was a dream. They wiped out a whole season. Dallas wiped out a whole season saying it was a dream. No. They didn't do that when they shot JR, did they? Water. The mead comes at the end. So, drink water, people. It's healthy. Oh. Before we get to the next question, I do want to make a statement. And it's an important statement to make, especially for this weekend. Thank you, milady. This weekend, Monday, is Memorial Day. Memorial Day is not for veterans. To a degree. Memorial Day is a day where we honor those fallen servicemen and women. The fallen servicemen and women. Not the ones who are still alive. So please be mindful of that when you go out this weekend and thank a veteran for their service. This is not the time when you thank a veteran for their service. This is a time somber. With everything that's going on in the world right now, we need a little bit of stepping back and honoring those who have died for the privileges that we are afforded. Like, Veterans Day is when you honor me and all the other people who have served for the freedoms that we are afforded. But today, or not today, but Monday, is really the day when you honor those who have fallen and fight for that service. So I just wanted to say that before we get any further in this and before I forgot. Hydration before libation, yes. Got a big mug of yep. I hate when stories are Bob Newharted, but it can be done interestingly. Yes, it can be. It can be done real interestingly. Yeah. So, Kirk, on to your question from last week. Did Chinese pirates ever encounter European pirates? Well, Kirk, thank you for asking about that. And as a matter of fact, they did. Chinese encountered European pirates in Southeast Asia, particularly in the South China Sea. While the European Golden Age of piracy primarily focused on the Caribbean, European pirates occasionally ventured into the Southeast Asian waters, particularly the South China Sea. Their presence of Chinese pirates were often as smugglers and even having ties to official Chinese authorities. In 1809, the Portuguese forces clashed with Chinese pirates in the Battle of Tiger's Mouth. During the Ming Dynasty, Zheng Zhilong, a powerful figure who initially engaged in piracy, later established alliances with the Dutch traders and even fought alongside them against rival factions. According to the BBC, Qing Shi controlled a vast fleet and became a major force of the South China Sea, rivaling the navies of the European powers. Let's see. Nope, that's a different one. So, yeah. The Portuguese and the Chinese pirates fought for about 9 hours until the pirates suffered some 15 sunken ships, several more damaged, and retreated. And that was the Battle of Tiger's Mouth. Yeah, because the Suez wasn't available yet. So yeah, around, how did they get there? Yeah, around the southern Horn of Africa. Rather get Bob Newharted than having them jump the shark. Exactly. Let your party learn from their mistakes. If you make it a dream sequence in which only one person in the party had the dream and remembers what happened in the dream, then that gives a whole new dynamic to the role playing. Because then the one character, the one PC who had the dream can be like, this feels vaguely familiar, like deja vu. And that was a great movie, by the way. If you haven't seen Deja Vu, the movie, Denzel Washington, phenomenal. It's a 90s movie, early 2000s movie. But yeah, great movie. You do need players who can role play. Now, there will be some people, Kirk, that would say making a dream sequence like that and making it only the memories of one individual is metagaming. And while that may be true in some aspects, so long as they don't metagame outside a character, it should be fine. Kevin, we are on, did Chinese pirates ever encounter European pirates? And the answer was yes. Multiple times. Lots of times. They had the Battle of Liuliu Bay. They had the Battle of Tiger's Mouth. They had pirates in the South South China Sea. Apparently, there was a pirate who was a prostitute who became the greatest Chinese pirate of them all. Let's see. Let's see what this one is. I did not see this before, or else I would have mentioned it. At the mouth of the Pearl River, Ganzhou is the city. Anyway, I don't know. I can't find out who she was, but yeah, no, that's the Pirate Queen. I don't know. Let me run through this real quick. Drunk. Rise of the Pirate Queen. Yeah, Rise of the Pirate Queen. Shi Yang, Shiyang, was born in Guangdong Province in 1775. Hey, 1775. That was a year before we declared our independence. You released a daddy longlegs. Okay. Did you know that the daddy longlegs is the most venomous spider known to man? More venomous than the Black Widow. But they've got too tiny of fangs. They can't bite through humans. They've got enough venom in their bodies to down an elephant. So, but that was our question that we missed from Kirk last week. So, Kirk, I hope you got an answer there. I hope it was a good answer. I learned some things. Our next question comes from our very own Puffy Cheeto, and Amanda asks, "Hi, Pirate. Hope all is well. Have you heard about the treasure that was buried by Forrest Fenn? He left all clues to its location in a poem in a book he wrote. It took a decade, but it was eventually found. I thought this was an interesting idea and something that would be very appropriate for a rogue pirate to do. Would you ever consider burying treasure and leaving clues for future generations to find it? And if so, what kind of treasures would you bury?" Puffy Cheeto, Amanda. Well, thank you for the question, Amanda. Back to minis. What? Thank you for the question, Amanda. Yes. To answer your question simply, yes. I've actually heard of multiple people, not just Forrest Fenn, burying hordes of treasure, small hordes of treasure in the Rockies, in the Appalachians, somewhere, and it's taken people 2 and 3 decades to find this treasure. But yeah, actually, and to answer your question, yeah, it is a very roguish thing to do. And I've actually thought about it for my will. There was a book I read back when I was a kid. It's called The Westing Game. And it's basically this story of this guy in Westing Paper Products. He owned Westing Paper Products, and he dies. And he sets up a will and has all of his family and the people who knew him or people he just met on the street or something, people who lived in his building, were at the will reading. And the will was more of like a contest. You were paired up with somebody, and you were given an envelope with $10,000 in it with a clue. And whoever found all the clues and solved the riddle of Westing's death inherited the whole company, inherited all of his inheritance. Now, spoiler alert for the story, guy didn't die. It was all a setup, and his granddaughter or whatnot was one of the contestants, one of the people in the will, and it was designed for her to get everything, because the people they paired up with either had issues with each other or were in love with each other, and they took themselves out of the game. So, but yeah, no, I actually had thought about doing that for my will, making it kind of like a scavenger hunt. I think that would be phenomenal. I think it'd be interesting. What's the point of burying it? Burying treasure? You bury treasure so that nobody else gets to it. But then if you get drunk enough and you lie out on the beach long enough, you forget where you've buried it. So now it's gone and lost and becomes a lost treasure. But yeah, no, I that's back to the question. That I have thought about that a lot. Not burying my treasure, so to speak, but making it a scavenger hunt, and whoever wins the scavenger hunt gets my fortune. I don't know what I'd have, but I'd have something. But Amanda, I hope you got an answer to that question. You have another question coming up later this evening, so we're going to move right on. Right. The burying is the most piratey part of it. Yes, yeah, absolutely. It is the most piratey part of it. Though I believe most of that to be fiction. Because most pirate treasure is sunk in the bottom of the Caribbean or around Florida with the Spanish treasure fleet, or south of Cartagena, the San Jose, the Spanish treasure ship that's worth $17 billion. Ron, you are absolutely right. It's no good for yourself if you can't spend or enjoy it. However, I just read something or saw a video of something. You know the old saying, you can't take it with you? Well, somebody figured out how you can take it with you. So, and I don't know, but my dad used to have a shirt. I'm pretty sure he still has it, but it'd be ratty and old, and he's had it for like 30 years. But it's a shirt that has Garfield on the front of it, and Garfield's got a little speech bubble, and the speech bubble says, "He who dies with the most toys wins." So I think it's funny. If you bury it with the intention of someone else finding it, it's still treasure, or is it a complicated time capsule? Ooh. That's a... Well, see, a time capsule has to have items in it that represent you. And if you're just burying gold and jewels and other things, then it's treasure. Your time capsule would be your burial. But now we're getting into archaeology aspects of things. So you guys do realize that burial graves are just time capsules. That's the simplest way to put it. It's just a time capsule, especially in aspects where maybe you have an open funeral and people put things into your casket before they close it up, or even the ancient Egyptians and the pharaohs, their treasure rooms are just time capsules. So yeah, no, absolutely, Bacon, you're spot on that. And yes, Kevin, it could be both. It could absolutely be both. So we are 31 minutes in, and we've only answered 3 questions. Our next question comes from Kirk. Kirk asks, Pope related, like nations, sponsor pirates. Has the Vatican ever sponsored popes? I was actually intrigued to find this out, Kirk. I was actually intrigued and very, very interested in finding this out because the Vatican has done so much in everything. Why wouldn't they sponsor pirates? Why wouldn't we? And as a matter of fact, they did. And as a matter of fact, a pirate was a pope. His name was Baldassare Cosa. He was a former pirate, and he rose to become the leader of the Catholic Church. And he reigned as Pope John the 23rd from 1410 to 1415. But during this time, he wasn't the only pope. There was two other popes. And because this was the three popes fought for the control of the church during the Western Schism from 1378 to 1470. His conflict, he was notorious for seducing nuns, betraying his allies. He had a conflict with Pope Gregory the 13th, who excommunicated him. Even King Ladislaw of Naples, once a close associate of his, turned on him. He fled in disgrace. In 1409, he and three rival popes, Gregory the 12th and Benedict the 13th and Alexander the 5th, each claimed to be rightful pontiff and denounced the others as frauds. Cosa's brothers were pirates, and they were beheaded. Cosa was born in around 1365 in the Bay of Naples. He was a ruthless cardinal who used intimidation to get his way. He was the papal ambassador to Bologna. While they may not have supported pirates per se, a pirate was Pope who seduced his nuns. Sounds like a fine gentleman, don't you think? Some places have to dig it up due to lack of space, so funeral pyres need to make a comeback. So, Ruby, while they used to do it, they have stopped the practice, but have only continued to allow the practice for residents of this town. There is a town in Colorado it's called the Open Air Cremation Site. The Crestone End of Life Project operates one of the only legal open air cremation sites in the state of Colorado. This ancient and inspirational end of life choice returns the body to its original fire and air elements. Now, you can get cremated this way, so long as you register and are chosen, and they only allow like 3 or 5 outside individuals to the funeral pyre a year. But so yeah, they still do at least have one funeral pyre, but it's illegal all over the world, and it's due to shifting winds and shifting currents and stuff like that. But it is illegal to put yourself on a long ship and be pushed out to sea and then have a fiery arrow launched at you and let you burn up and have a Viking funeral. Funerary practices are a special interest, my lady. Well, then you and I have lots to talk about at the next gathering, because I studied funeral rites in college, funeral traditions. I studied taphonomy, which is the study of how the human body decays. Hello, Mrs. Pirate Wife, my wench. So yeah, no. Just like here's an interesting thing about death. There was an individual back in ancient times now we know him as the Mellified Man, also known as the human mummy confection. The Mellified Man was an individual who was fed nothing but honey in the year led up to his death. He knew he was dying. He just continued to eat honey. When he died, they buried him in honey. And his body became honey, and his body became candy. And 100 years later, when they opened his tomb, the ancestors of this guy ate him as a treat. So, yeah, there's an interesting thing for you. So yeah. What's going on in the chat? Nobody will know when it's done in northern parts of Canada. Look, if you've got areas in northern parts of Canada that are free range, so to speak, I'm pretty sure nobody will care. But here in the States, we got rules and laws and stuff like that. And no, as much as I'd like to say, as much as the pirate in me likes to say, they're more like guidelines now. You get heavily fined and stuff, and it's because people don't have a sense of humor. Miserable, bloody Romans, no sense of humor. But anyway, yeah, there are so many different funeral rites and stuff that are around the world. Indigenous people do it. Yep. And that's the thing with the Colorado thing. The indigenous population of Colorado is the one who puts it on. So while they had it open for everybody, judges and people got involved, and they said, nope, no more. You can do this, but you can't do this. They've done a lot for us, Kirk. They gave us pizza. They gave us spaghetti. They gave me my wife. I mean, my wife is Italian. Not necessarily Roman, but she's from the boot anyway. Well, her family is. Anyway, yeah, so knowing the right people is key. All right, we are moving on. And Kirk, I hope you got an answer in that question. Well, the Chinese brought pasta, dear, and the Chinese didn't even do that. Marco Polo brought the pasta to Italy, so, and the spices and everything else, but it wasn't until the Italians put it all together that we got spaghetti. Rome is forgiven. Rome also, you know what Rome gave us? Rome gave us the Colosseum. Rome gave us gladiatorial fights. Rome gave us WWE. Only WWE doesn't fight lions and tigers and bears and stuff like that. But, yeah. Rome also gave us NASCAR racing. Chariot racing is just chariot racing, racing horses on and on two wheels is just NASCAR. It's the earliest forms of NASCAR. Rome's forgiven. Concept of roads with layers and not just dirt or stone paths, as far as I know. Yes. They also gave us concrete because they mixed the ash and everything from Pompeii and the other volcanoes and gave us concrete. Soda ash. I mean, they gave us modern plumbing. They gave us. Anyway, we're getting off topic. Maybe that'll be a discussion we have, a long form discussion next time. But I'm glad you got an answer to that, Kirk. Our next question comes from Jacob. And Jacob asks, is another one of his questions he sent me. Here's another question I sniffed out for you. Retriever of gold. Second question is this. If hypothetically I retrieve some gold that may have been cursed by the natives that used to live in the ancient ruins, how would one go about removing the curse, if at all possible, while still keeping the gold? Again, hypothetical. Well, Jacob, I have been waiting for somebody to ask me this question. And honestly, the answer is, I don't know. How is the gold cursed? How is the gold cursed? Is the gold itself cursed, or is the chest that the gold is in cursed? Now, take back to the movie Pirates of the Caribbean, the cursed Aztec gold, right? I don't think the actual gold coin was cursed. I think the chest was cursed. And I'll tell you why. Because the curse wasn't lifted until every last gold coin that was taken out of the chest was put back into the chest. So therefore the chest had to have known how many gold pieces were in the chest. And it wasn't until Jack took one of the coins or was talking to Barbossa about spilling Will's blood when he took the coin that he got cursed. Right? So my question to you, if the chest itself is cursed and you take the gold out of it and you become cursed next, melt the chest down. Destroy the curse. Or melt the gold down. If the gold ingots, if the gold coins themselves are the curse, melt the gold down. Make new coins. Strike new coins. Make them into Spanish doubloons instead of Aztec gold. Life of Brian was such a good movie. Life of Brian is such a good movie.
He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Now go away.
Sounds like it was cursed by an accountant. Probably. Is the curse to punish thievery or for spite or to make sure only a certain person could get it? Well, you know, that was never explained in Pirates of the Caribbean, so we don't know why the Aztec gold was cursed or even how the Aztec gold was cursed. Maybe they do a prequel movie. We know Johnny Depp is back for the next Pirates movie. He said as much. But maybe we do a prequel movie about how the actual gold got cursed. But my opinion, I was, and I go back to the Norse Forge Gathering with this question. I have a pouch of I had 200. I don't know how many gave away because I haven't counted them yet. But I have a pouch of gold doubloons, small little gold doubloons that I was giving out, that I made the comment that I melted down the Aztec gold and it's now cursed Spanish gold. So, yeah, I would melt it down and make it into gold ingots or other gold coins see if that destroys the curse. But my whole question is, why not? I like being a skeleton. You can't die. Bacon did get one of those coins. And my Lady Lee should have gotten one of those coins too. But yeah, no. There's your answer, Jacob. I hope you got it. I don't know if you're in the chat tonight or in the stream tonight, but I hope you got an answer. If accountants curse, you got to do the paperwork. You got to pay the tax if it's accountants curse. I mean, my Lady Lee, you might. There's no telling what happens with cursed Spanish gold. But we are 47 minutes in, and we have one question, and then our deadly dungeon, and then we can get into chat. And our final question for the evening comes from Amanda. And Amanda asks, where do you think the largest amount of unfound gold is hidden in the world? Adak Island, Oak Island, Australia, etc. Well, Amanda, Puffy Cheeto, before a few years ago, I would have said the largest amount of unfound gold treasure would be the wreck of the San Jose. It's $17 billion worth of treasure, and it was found just south of Cartagena, Colombia. So that's what I would have said. Now I couldn't tell you. There's still like $700 million worth of gold somewhere in the Caribbean, spread out, something like that. Maybe it's like $700 billion worth of gold now. But the Spanish treasure fleet of 1750 that was wrecked around the Florida Keys and around Florida, it's still producing treasure. Treasure from that is still washing up on shores, and we have not found all of the ships from that sunken fleet. Who knows? In doing research, we have only scratched the surface on the actual gold that we have mined. The gold that we can mine that is still underneath the ground, geologists wager there's like 50 to 57,000 tons of gold still beneath the surface of the earth. Our 99.9% of the gold and other precious metals that the earth has is locked away in our metallic core, and there's no way we're going to get to that because lava and magma. So the lost city of Cibola, or city of gold, El Dorado, yeah. There is a tale, a story, if you will, of a large cache, CACHE, of silver ingots, silver bars, that was buried somewhere near a large standing stone in Oklahoma, and now that standing stone is under a lake. So there could be the silver. That silver was never found. It's actual silver treasure, and it's never been found. But it's never been found because the lake. They made a lake there. Sussex looks to have been about 500 million in gold in today's money. The HMS Sussex, which was big, but I forgot how much. Okay. Not the Earth's mantle, but definitely, well, yeah, in the Earth's mantle. We still got about 50 to 57,000 tons of gold and precious metals. Or those are known below ground reserves. But the metallic core that we have, the semi-iron core that we have, also has gold and silver and platinum and everything else, but we can never get to it because the magma and the liquid core and stuff like that, and it's just too hot. You'd burn up before you even got there if you could even drill that far, but you can't. Probably silver does oxidize, and the magnetic field. Yep. Silver does corrode. Silver does oxidize. Here's the thing: put gold or silver in the ocean long enough, and not necessarily lakes, but put gold and silver in the ocean long enough, and coral will start to grow on it because it's a solid surface that coral can attach to. So yeah. So there's that. But Amanda, that's my answer for the largest treasure. I knew about the San Jose shipwreck almost 2.5 decades ago when I was a kid. Maybe almost 3 decades ago. And it was one of the ones that I was actually intrigued to go and look for, but never got the chance because I was too late. But no, there's other treasures out in the world that need to be found besides gold and silver. I would love to find just stuff, lost ships in the Bermuda Triangle, lost airplanes in the Bermuda Triangle. The truth about the City of Cibola legend, while not 100%, is probably a mixture of a couple different stories. The Aztecs and the Mayans had gold accents and gold stuff. I mean, they made trinkets out of gold. The Spanish came over and saw this, and they probably assumed that there was a big city made of it somewhere because they saw all of their decorations were all made of gold and stuff like that. So as not 100%, but probably close to the neighborhood of like 30% with another 60% or 70% exaggeration. So, but Amanda, I hope that answered your question. You all disappointed me. And I'm saying that because you guys chose wisely for you guys, I guess. So I also picked the Vikings because I wanted the Vikings to win. But our deadly dungeon was the Vikings versus SEAL Team 6, correct? And let's go through this. Because I want to give everybody the down low on the Vikings. They come out swinging. They're fierce raiders, warriors of the Norse world from the 8th to 11th centuries. Their preferred weapons and gear were long swords, battle axes, spears and shields, bows and arrows. They had leather chainmail armor, and there was a subgroup of drug-fueled frenzy warriors who charged with reckless abandon, ignoring pain, called berserkers. While SEAL Team 6, they're a modern U.S. Special Forces unit, trained for precision, unconventional warfare, and counterterrorism. They have M4A1 carbines and machine guns. They have sniper rifles. They have grenades and explosives, Kevlar body armor and helmets, night vision and drones. Now, here's where you guys wanted me to go into depth. One-on-one or group versus group. Now, their tactics and style is where this comes into play. A Viking warband strengths, they have superior numbers, anywhere between 100 and 500. Just depends on what they're doing. If they're just going into battle, they take the smallest amount. If they're doing a raid on a city or a town or a continent, they take 500 people. The SEALs, however, only take 90. Now that seems like it's a lopsided fight, right? Oh, Jake is back. Turns out the chest took the coins from some dummies, stole it and brought it to Remote Island. Must have melted it down because it was all liquid when I got there. Okay. Cool. Glad you got your answer. But yeah, you guys wanted me to do the group on group thing, so here we go. Brutal melee attacks and overwhelming foes with ferocity. This is still the strengths of the Viking warband. They have shield formations for coordinated defense. And they practice psychological warfare. War cries and berserker frenzies strike fear into their opponents. Their weaknesses: no firearms or modern tech, minimal ranged effectiveness, and they are less organized compared to highly disciplined SEALs. SEAL Team 6 strengths: they have advanced modern weaponry, dominates range combat, superior tactical coordination and squad formations, tech advantage, they have thermal scopes, drones, night vision, precision firepower, single SEAL can eliminate multiple enemies before taking any damage. Their weaknesses: they are vastly outnumbered by the Viking warbands, they are vulnerable if caught in prolonged close combat without time to reload, and they rely on ammo. If their supplies run out, they're forced into melee combat. Now here's where you guys disappointed me. You guys were so far off the mark from the simulation, from the simulations, mind you. You guys chose the Vikings over SEAL Team 6. 67% versus 33%. And the simulations, the Vikings only survived 10% of the time. SEAL Team 6 beat them out overwhelmingly 90% of the time. And I'll tell you why. I will explain to you why. Environment consideration, varied settings, dense forests, open battlefields, urban landscapes, Viking terrain. All right? The SEALs dominate through superior firepower. Absolutely. The SEALs, they could wipe out a horde of Vikings before the Vikings even got close enough to get into melee combat. They aren't pushovers for melee, and that's the thing. They aren't pushovers for melee, but if they have the advantage of having ranged weaponry, they're going to take out a lot of Vikings before the Vikings can even get into melee range. Now, the Berserkers are the Vikings' weakness, because even in melee, they prove especially lethal. But those instances are rare. They can't, because of the SEAL team's advanced firepower and everything else. They don't get a chance. In rare cases where SEALs are overwhelmed in melee, such as a Viking ambush or tight quarters, the warband takes the victory through sheer brute force. If the SEAL team runs out of ammo, the Vikings can overrun them. The SEAL team uses tactical use of explosives. Even in bad terrain, the SEALs adapt faster. They execute strategic retreats when necessary. Vikings don't like to retreat. As we all know, Vikings don't know the meaning of retreat. Vikings have the power of Thor. Thor only applies in one of the gods' battles. The Vikings wield Mjolnir. And maybe it is more of a case of who I want to win. Look, you guys know the simulation doesn't choose the winner. You guys in the Discord poll chooses the winner. So guess what? Guess who won? The Vikings have beaten SEAL Team 6 69-33. Now, I did change this. As you guys see, Dukes and Hellman's mayonnaise are no longer here. We ran it back, and Hellman's will be in another thing because they did beat Dukes. We're not running that one back, but just to make this all work out, I did change SEAL Team 6 into Vikings, put him here. And now we're going to have the Vikings versus the Ninjas. So, if SEAL Team has limited terrain and lack of time to prepare a battlefield, yeah. SEAL Team has better armor too. I think the Vikings' melee weapons are better reach-wise, but pointless versus guns. Look, if you take out the advanced weaponry and advanced technology from SEAL Team 6, no guns, no explosives, no drones. Just give them their current body armor, and you give them the same style of weaponry that the Vikings have. They're still going to get overrun because there's 500 Vikings, there's 90 SEAL Team 6. They're going to get overrun all day. They're not pushovers by any means, but it's going to be a slaughter fest on SEAL Team 6. So that's just the way it is. I mean, you got 500 people against 90, given the same situation, and you're not in a pinch point now. Now, don't get me wrong. The Battle of Thermopylae is not a good example of an outnumbered foe getting destroyed. The Battle of Thermopylae only succeeded and would have continued to succeed had one of Leonidas's people not told the Persians about the back way path into the choke point. But you have 300 Spartans against the entire Persian army, and they were holding their own. You got 90 SEAL team against 500 Vikings who would just assuredly rip off your head and spit down your throat. I'm going to go Vikings all day long. The body armor that we wear, because I wore the same body armor that SEAL Team 6 wears. It's nothing special. It's Kevlar, and it's a ceramic plate. An axe is going to go straight through it. A Viking seax is going to go right through it. A Viking longsword is going to go straight through you. There is nothing that you can do. It's rogue math. It's rogue math. I'll fix it. I'll fix it. I don't know. Look. Let me hold on a minute. Let me see what the Discord said. Because I got it straight from the Discord. Let's see. 67 to 33. I mistyped it. 67 to 33. My bad. I'm sorry. Nope, an axe doesn't have to crack the ceramic. You know why? Because the ceramic is right here. It only covers center mass. You get hit anywhere in the neck, anywhere in the arm, anywhere in the shoulder, anywhere in the leg, you're done. Kevin, nope, you don't have to be quiet. You don't have to be quiet. I'm just informing you. The ceramic plate for body armor for SEAL team and for Army and Air Force and everybody is only about 10 inches wide and about 12 inches tall. It's only designed to cover center mass, and it's only good for like 2 or 3 shots of 7.62. So, extra 2 points are Viking awesomeness. Yes, extra 2 points are Viking awesomeness. I did just want to type 69. Yep, bacon. So, but yeah, no, you guys absolutely nailed it out the park with the Vikings. I'm not really disappointed. I'm disappointed that SEAL Team 6 didn't actually come through, but we all knew where it was going when I said it last week. Everybody already had said Vikings are going to win. So, but like I said, that's our bracket so far. The Vikings have won. And next week, and I'll put it in the poll. I'll put the poll up now. I'm going to actually stop the poll for the Vikings because I can do that. End poll now. And start a new poll. That way everybody is on right now when I am putting the poll up for next week. And it is going to be Vikings versus Ninjas. I did say last week that we were going to be running the Vikings, or the winner of the Vikings and SEAL Team 6, 2 in a row. Because I want Elves and Werewolves to be the last one in this round. So, with that being said, we are there for 1 week. The poll for Vikings versus Ninjas is up live currently in the Discord. And it's live before we're done ending the show. Wow. I just looked at the time. We have been on the air for 1 hour and 10 minutes, everybody. Which means we're in chat time. So, we like to start off chat by saying what was good for the week for everybody. So, anybody got any good things of the week? My good thing for the week is I get a 3-day weekend this weekend. A lot of questions tonight. And you know, a lot of questions actually came from the chat tonight. Not just, well, some of the questions came from the chat tonight. But yeah, no. And a lot of good questions. I loved this week's questions. I kind of love the title of this week's episode, Treasure in a Pirate Pope. Or a Pope Pirate. I don't know what I put. But yeah, no. Kevin gets a 3-day. I bet you Kirk gets a 3-day. I mean, Monday is Memorial Day, so everybody in the United States should get a 3-day because it's a federal holiday. Which I'm too young to be to be any grand thing, dear. So that's on you. Milady Lee gets the day off on Monday. Everybody gets the day off on Monday. The Pirate Pope. Yes, I thought. I honestly didn't know about the Vatican and pirates. So that surprised me. Ron survived a week of unseasonably cold and wet weather at the trailer. That's nice. Oh, you work Saturday and Sunday. I'm not. I'm not dignifying my wife's statement with a response. Anyway. So what else? What else is going? We've got. We are at 18, guys. This is show number 18. It's a holiday in the UK too, just not Memorial Day for us. Oh, really? Yo, Kai! I knew you were here. Where you been? Anyway. But you guys have had a great week, I'm sure. And I hope you guys will have a great weekend. I myself have to get off here because it's 11 o'clock here in the hotel. And we have quiet hours because this is a stay bridge and they want to be upscale. So, with that being said, I want to remind everybody to go ahead and like, share, subscribe, hit the bell, do all the things. If you haven't joined the Discord, join the Discord. We have fun over there. You don't have to join the Discord, but you get after hours and you get super secret access to things. Please vote in the poll. Go vote in the poll. There are 9 people in here, and we had. We had 6 people vote in the poll. That means 3 people didn't vote. And I know we have a lot more people in the Discord who don't show up to here. So if you could get anybody in our Discord channel to start coming back, it'd be great. Because we're at 18 and I didn't think we'd get this far. So, but yeah. No, send your questions to roguebardadvice@gmail.com. It kind of looks like roguebardadvice@gmail.com. I'll take any questions, any questions you want. Just make sure you get them in by Wednesday. If you get them in by Wednesday, you got a chance of actually getting on the show that week. Otherwise, it's probably going to be pushed to next week. And depending on how important your question is, depends on if you get it. But, with that being said, I have been your host, the Rogue Pirate Archaeologist, Pirate, the Rogue, Chris, and some who know me as Captain Bones. I will be back this same time next week, 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Central. Same Rogue time, same Rogue channel. And with that, we're going to pop the mead, take our drink, and end the show. Y'all have a nice one.